Hi everyone. I want to continue today with the idea of looking at thought. I did a video on that yesterday of the idea that, thoughts have all the power in the universe. And in chapter 30, he so beautifully addresses the idea of thought. He says, um, thoughts are not born and cannot die, right? It's like a thought seems to be coming and going, right? He says, thoughts seem to come and go, yet all this means that you're sometimes aware of them and sometimes you're not, which is true, right? You seem to have thoughts that come and go, but really all that means, the thought is always there, right? But you become aware of it and then you forget it again and you're not aware of it. But the thought didn't die, it didn't disappear, it just seemed to be disappearing for you, right? Because as a human being, you have a very limited awareness, right? So therefore, thoughts seem to come and go, but thoughts, ideas leave not their source, which is one of the central um, ideas in A Course in Miracles, isn't it? That ideas leave not their source. Well, whose thoughts are they? Well, they're yours, right? These are all your thoughts, but thoughts are not unimportant. We are very used to saying, "Well, it was just a thought." No, there is only thought, right? Even being in space time, right, where you seem to be in the middle of form, in the middle of images. These are all your thoughts, right? We call this thought form. You project your thoughts out there, you separate yourself from it, and they seem to be outside of you. But they're not really outside of you, are they? They are your thoughts taking form outside of you. That's all. So, yeah, everything is thought, even the idea of your thoughts taking form outside of you. Um, in one of the lessons towards the end, he says, whatever I see reflects a process in my mind that starts with an idea of what I want. From there, I project it outwards and it becomes form. And then you forget that you're the maker of it and you separate yourself from it. You conveniently forget that you made it. And now it seems to be out there and it seems to be not you, right? But everything is an idea, right? So they're your idea. This world is your idea. Space time is in your mind. These images are not out there. So, this is a whole different way of thinking about the world, about whatever you see out there, right? The world is a reflection of your mind. It's in your mind, it's not out there. So, these are some of the crucial lessons in our Course in Miracles that we get used to in a process of transformation, spiritual awakening. And because you're changing your mind, you're starting to really think differently about these things, correct? Um, One of the early lessons, and these are the early lessons that deal with the undoing of the way you see now, is whatever I see is a form of vengeance. And the way I love that lesson is, why I love that lesson is, he tells you why, um, like literally you separate yourself from it, right? So you subtract yourself from the image. In other words, he says they're all made out of hate. They're all made out of anger, right? So you project yourself from it. Yeah, you reject it. You reject your thought. So now it seems to be out there. So this is where forgiveness comes in, doesn't it? Forgiveness reunifies you with your thoughts, right? Through forgiveness, your thoughts can come home, if you will, right? So you are one with everything. You are one with everything out there because they're your thoughts. They haven't gone anywhere. Ideas leave not their source. And through forgiveness, you indeed see that that is true. That whatever you thought was out there isn't out there at all, but is in your mind. You see that forgiveness is so important because it reestablishes the unity, right? The oneness of everything within your own mind. So, yeah, some of the ideas in here it says, the thought God holds of you is perfectly unchanged by your forgetting. Love that, right? God has a thought of you. You are God's idea, right? God is an idea in your mind. Their thoughts and ideas are what makes up reality. This is not real, right? Space time is not real. They're just your thoughts taking form. But thought is everything. I love it. It says, it will always be exactly as it was before the time when you forgot, and will be just the same when you remember, and it is the same within the interval when you forgot. I love it, right? The idea that nothing really changes. You are eternally a God, in a thought in God's mind, right? That will never change. It says here, the thoughts of God are far beyond all change and shine forever. Love that. They await not birth, they wait for welcome and remembering. The thought God holds of you is like a star, unchangeable in an eternal sky. Think about that for a moment. You are a thought in God's mind, right? And again, from the viewpoint of the world, that doesn't seem to be important. It's like, what do you mean I'm a thought? No, there is only thought, right? This is that reversal of thinking that we're making our own in it. Beautiful. It says, so high in heaven it is said that those outside of heaven know not that it is there. True, that's the condition of the world. Yet still and wide and lovely will it shine throughout all eternity. There was no time that it wasn't there, right? No instant when its light grew dimmer or less. Beyond all idols is the thought God holds of you, completely unaffected by the turmoil and the terror of the world, the dreams of birth and death that here are dreamed, the myriad of forms that fear take, quite undisturbed. The thought God holds of you remains exactly as it was. I love that. Whatever illusions you have about yourself, none of those are true. You are still whole and perfect as God created you. Surrounded by a stillness so complete, no sound of battle comes remotely near. It rests in certainty and perfect peace. I love it. Here is your one reality kept safe, completely unaware of all the world that worships idol and that knows not God. This world knows not God. This world doesn't know anything. One of the lines in the Course in Miracles is, nothing the world believes is true. Right? The two thought systems do not meet. You got the thought system of the world, you got reality, right? The thought system that this course is trying to set forth and bring about in your mind is the opposite of the thinking of the world. Love it. In perfect sureness of its changelessness and of its rest in its eternal home, the thought God holds of you has never left the mind of its creator, whom it knows as its creator knows that it is there. So again, right? Again, the idea that everything is thought, everything is an idea. You're an idea in God's mind, God is an idea in your mind. Ideas leave not their source, right? If you believe that if you, let me say it this way, that what you believe about yourself is not true. But because this is your belief, these are your ideas, it hasn't left its source, it's still there, and now you're in the middle of all your ideas. Right? This is why correction is necessary. The idea will remain there till you see it as it truly is. So this is the mind training that we're making our own. We're swapping false ideas for true ideas. We're allowing that correction, that unifying principle, that correcting principle that is always with you to intervene between our thoughts and hence undergo what we call a spiritual transformation. And through that, right, you're being revealed what are your true thoughts, what you are in reality. And you'll see that the thoughts that you're having, right, that you've shared with God, the thoughts that you shared with reality have always been there. They haven't left your mind. They can't, right? Nothing leaves your mind. But false ideas, false thoughts are simply being converted to truth, right? And then they are no longer seen because they become true. And once they become true, right, where are illusions now? I hope that makes sense. I hope that helps a little bit if you're struggling with the idea of thought, because everything is a thought, right? Now you can no longer say, well, it was only a thought. No, it wasn't only a thought, there is only thought, right? Reality is thought, right? So right? There's no such thing as a neutral thought. Your thoughts have all the power in the universe, but it's very often it's just dismissed as, well, it's not important because it was just a thought. No, your thoughts have all the power in the universe, and look at it. The world you seem to live in is the result of thoughts misdirected, right? False, but it's the result of it, and it looks very real to you. Huh? Let's be honest. So we can no longer dismiss, well, it was just a thought. No, 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 right? Thought is the only thing there is. And even the world that you seem to live in is thought having taken form. That's the reality of the matter, right? That's what we're dealing with as we undergo this transformation, as we undergo this mind training, as we change our mind about what we thought we were. I love you. I hope you have a great, great day today, wherever, whenever you are. And I'll see you out there.